Colombia's first leftist president was sworn into office Sunday, promising to fight inequality and bring peace to a country long haunted by bloody feuds between the government, drug traffickers, and rebel groups. Gustavo Petro, a former member of Colombia's M19 guerrilla group, won the presidential election in June by beating conservative parties that offered moderate changes to the market friendly economy but failed to connect with voters frustrated by rising poverty and violence against human rights leaders and environmental groups in rural areas. On Sunday, he said Colombia was getting a second chance to tackle violence and poverty and promised that his government would implement economic policies that seek to end long standing inequalities and ensure solidarity with nations most vulnerable. The incoming president said he will willing to start peace talks with armed groups across the country and also called on the United States and other developed nations to change drug policies that have focused on the prohibition of substances like cocaine and fed violent conflicts across Colombia and other Latin American nations. Petro is part of a growing group of leftist politicians and political outsiders who have been winning elections in Latin America since pandemic broke out and hurt incumbents who struggled with its economic aftershocks. The ex-rebels' victory was also exceptional for Colombia, where voters had been historically reluctant to back leftist politicians who were often accused of being soft on crime or allied with guerrillas. Amid the rising tension in Taiwan Strait over a visit to the island by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, China is conducting its military exercises with live fire in the southern part of the Yellow Sea. The military exercises started on August 6 and will end on August 15. According to the Liang Yonggang Maritime Safety Administration, the drills will last from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., said Consul General of China. Also, the drill in the Bohai Sea will be held from August 8 to September 8, the Maritime Safety Administration said in a statement. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan amid warnings from China. Pelosi landed in Taipei on Tuesday night and met Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen, reiterating U.S. commitment to the island's democracy. Urged by Pelosi's visit, China also held military drills near Taiwan's shore. Over 80,000 tourists are stranded in a resort city popularly known as China's Hawaii after a COVID-19 flare-up led authorities to impose strict travel restrictions. Tourism hotspot Sanya is a city of more than a million people on the southern island of Hainan, where 483 COVID-19 cases were reported on Sunday. All flights out of the city were cancelled over the weekend, with authorities also halting train ticket sales. Tourists who want to leave must test negative in 5 polymerase chain reaction tests over 7 days, health authorities said. Hotels in the cities have been asked to offer guests a 50% discount until the travel restrictions ease, an official said during a news briefing on Saturday. China is the only major economy still holding fast to a zero COVID-19 strategy, with snap lockdowns and long quarantines battering local tourism. The country's borders have also remained largely closed since early 2020, halting international tourism. The latest COVID-19 outbreak came during the peak tourism season in Sanya, a popular surfing spot. All entertainment venues, including spas, karaoke bars, and pubs, have been closed since last week, but essential services such as supermarkets and pharmacies remain open. The World Bank on Monday announced it was mobilizing another $4.5 billion in US provided financial support for war-torn Ukraine. The fund will help Kyiv pay for services and pensions, key to easing economic impacts of Russian invasion, the bank said in a statement. This economic assistance is critical in supporting the Ukrainian people as they defend their democracy against Russia's unprovoked war of aggression, US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said in a statement. The latest tranche of aid, most of which will be disbursed this month, is part of $8.5 billion in total US support, which is helping Ukraine's government keep hospitals, schools, and other critical government services for the people of Ukraine. The World Bank said the funding goes to the public expenditures for administrative capacity endurance in Ukraine, the peace project, part of the multi-billion-dollar package to help the country. Ukraine needs continued government services including health, education and social protection to prevent further deterioration in living conditions and poverty. World Bank President David Malpass said the country is currently running a budget deficit that is growing by $5 billion every month, exacerbated by its inability to raise funds or to access financing on external markets. Israel and Palestinian militants agreed to a Cairo mediated truce to take effect late on Sunday, sources said, raising hopes of an end to the most serious flare up on the Gaza frontier in more than a year. Israel forces pounded Palestinian targets through the weekend, triggering long range rocket attacks against its cities. Islamic Jihad, the faction that Israel has been fighting in Gaza since Friday, and a Palestinian official familiar with the ceasefire efforts, said the truce would come into effect at 8:30 GMT. Israel did not immediately confirm this. Palestinian and Egyptian sources had previously given earlier times for the truce. The latest clashes have echoed preludes to previous Gaza wars, though they have been relatively contained as Hamas, the governing Islamist group in the Gaza Strip, and a more powerful force than Iranian-backed Islamic Jihad, has so far stayed out. Gaza officials said 41 Palestinians, almost half of them civilians and including children, had so far been killed. The rockets have threatened much of southern Israel. Israel launched what it called preemptive strikes on Friday against what it anticipated would be an Islamic Jihad attack meant to avenge the arrest of a leader of the group, Bassem al-Sadi, in the occupied West Bank. In response, Islamic Jihad fired hundreds of rockets at Israel. The group said the truce would involve al-Sadi's release. Israeli officials did not immediately comment. On Sunday, Islamic Jihad extended its range to fire towards Jerusalem in what it described as retaliation over the overnight killing of its southern Gaza commander by Israel, the second such senior officer it has lost in the fighting. Israel said its Iron Dome interceptor, whose success rate the army put at 97%, shot down the rockets just west of the city. A new type of animal-derived Henipa virus has so far infected people in Shandong and Henan provinces of China, official media here reported on Tuesday. New type of Henipa virus, also named Langya Henipa virus, was found in throat swab samples from febrile patients in eastern China, state-run Global Times quoted media reports. Scholars who participated in study pointed out that this newly discovered Henipa virus, which may have come from animals, is associated with some febrile cases, and the infected people have symptoms including fever, fatigue, cough, anorexia, myalgia, and nausea. There is currently no vaccine or treatment for Henipa virus, and the only treatment is supportive care to manage complications. The cases of Langya Henipa virus so far have not been fatal or very serious, so there is no need for panic. A professor in the program in emerging infectious diseases at Duke Nurse Medical School, who was involved in the study, said, adding that it is still a cause for alert, as many viruses that exist in nature have unpredictable results when they infect humans. Further investigation found that 26 out of 35 cases of Langya Henipa virus infection in Shandong and Henan provinces have developed clinical symptoms such as fever, irritability, cough, anorexia, myalgia, nausea, headache, and vomiting, the report said. Britain's weather service on Tuesday issued an amber extreme heat warning for parts of England and Wales, with no respite in sight from hot, dry conditions that have sparked fires, broken temperature records, and strained the nation's infrastructure. The amber warning, second most severe after red, will be in place from Thursday through to the end of Sunday, and means that people vulnerable to extreme heat could face adverse health effects, the UK Met Office said. Temperatures are expected to peak at 35 degrees Celsius on Friday and may hit 36 degrees Celsius in some places on Saturday. The warning follows the driest July for England since 1935, when temperatures rose above 40 degrees Celsius for the first time, turning a renewed spotlight to the impacts of climate change. Other European nations have also faced a scorching heat wave in recent weeks, with temperatures often exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. Britain, which is less used to such high temperatures, has struggled to cope. July's heat wave caused power outages, damaged airport runways, buckled rail tracks, and ignited dozens of blazes in England, where the fire brigade faced its busiest week since World War II. Britain's largest water company, Thames Water, which serves 15 million customers across London and southeast England, said on Tuesday it was planning to announce temporary usage restrictions in the following weeks due to the hot temperatures this week and long term forecast of dry weather. Scientists have said the July heat wave was made at least 10 times more likely because of climate change. Israeli technology firm NSO Group, which grabbed global attention, including in India, amid allegations of misuse of its controversial spyware, Pegasus apparently has a large presence in the European Union, with at least 22 contracts covering 12 of the 27 states, a media report said on Wednesday. Pegasus spyware and competing products make it possible to infect the cell phone of the victim of surveillance and afterwards enable the operator to eavesdrop on conversations, read apps with encrypted messages, and provide total access to contacts and files on the device. It enables eavesdropping in real time on what is taking place around the cell phone by operating the camera and the microphone. Representatives of the European Parliament Committee of Inquiry on Pegasus spyware recently visited Israel and learned from NSO personnel that the company has active contracts with 12 European Union members. The replies of Israeli cyber warfare company to the committee's questions, which were obtained by the newspaper, revealed that the company is now working with 22 security and enforcement organizations in the EU, it added. The company's representatives in their conversations and exchanges with PTI have maintained that their spyware is used by government clients to target terrorists and other serious crimes. Members of the European Parliament Committee of Inquiry who came to Israel are said to have been surprised to discover contracts with their countries of origin. The committee was established after the publication of Project Pegasus last year, and its objective is to create pan-European regulations for the acquisition, import and use of cyber warfare software such as Pegasus, the report said. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has declared victory over COVID-19, and his sister indicated that he too caught the virus while vowing deadly retaliation against South Korea, which the North blames for causing the outbreak. Kim ordered the lifting of maximum anti-epidemic measures imposed in May, though adding that North Korea must maintain a steel-strong anti-epidemic barrier and intensifying the anti-epidemic work until the end of global health crisis. North Korea's KZNA news agency reported on Thursday. North Korea has never confirmed how many people caught COVID, apparently because it lacks the means to conduct widespread testing. Instead, it has reported daily numbers of patients with fever and tally that rose to some 4.77 million. But it has registered no new such cases since July 29. Kim made his declaration in a speech on Wednesday at a meeting on COVID policy with thousands of unmasked officials sitting indoors, according to footage from state broadcasters. Kim's sister also addressed the gathering and said the young leader himself had suffered from fever symptoms, according to KCNA, indicating for the first time that he was likely infected with the virus. Even though he was seriously ill with a high fever, he could not lie down for a moment thinking about the people he had to take care of until the end of the phase of anti-epidemic war, she said in remarks broadcast on North Korean state television. She did not elaborate on Kim's health but blamed propaganda leaflets from South Korea found near the border for causing the coronavirus outbreak. North Korean defectors and activists in the south have for decades floated balloons carrying anti-Pyongyang leaflets into the north, at times along with food, medicine, money and other items. Salman Rushdie, the Indian-born novelist who spent years in hiding after Iran urged Muslims to kill him because of his writing. He was stabbed in the neck and torso on stage at a lecture in New York State on Friday and airlifted to a hospital, police said. After hours of surgery, Rushdie was on a ventilator and unable to speak on Friday evening after an attack condemned by writers and politicians around the world as an assault on freedom of expression. The news is not good, Andrew Wiley, his book agent, wrote in an email. Salman will likely lose one eye. The nerves in his arm were severed and his liver was stabbed and damaged. Rushdie, 75, was being introduced to give a talk to an audience of hundreds on artistic freedom at West End, New York's Chowdaku Institution, when a man rushed to the stage and lunged at the novelist, who has lived with a bounty on his head since the late 1980s. Stunned attendees helped rescue the man from Rushdie, who had fallen to the floor. A New York State police trooper providing security at the event arrested the attacker. Police identified the suspect as Hadi Matar, a 24-year-old man from Fairview, New Jersey, who bought a pass to the event. Rushdie, who was born into a Muslim Kashmiri family in Bombay, now Mumbai, before moving to United Kingdom, has long faced death threats for his fourth novel, The Satanic Verses. Some Muslims said the book contained blasphemous passages. It was banned in many countries with large Muslim populations upon its 1988 publication.